Are you thinking of leaving the comfort zone of autofocusing lenses but don't know where to start? Maybe it's the relatively high price of those legendary Leica or Zeiss lenses everyone praises, or the confusing hindrance of using different adapters. Well, this 35mm f1.4 aps-c manual focus lens from TTArtisan can be the best one to start with. Let me tell you why. But before I get to it, I wanna express big thanks to TTArtisan who sent me this lens to test it out. There are no strings attached, so as always I will give you my honest opinion and share my experience from using it. Let's get the lens design out of the way first. It's super small, light, and the outside is built completely from metal. I actually had to touch it to believe it. The matte black paint can be deceiving. All marking and lettering is engraved and painted in white and red, simple but fully functional. I have the lens in the Fuji X-mount version, but you can also get it for Sony, Canon, Nikon and L-mount crop sensor cameras, and there is also a version for micro four third mount. The lens will of course work on, for example, a full frame L-mount camera, but only in APS-C mode, so you will end up with 50mm equivalent focal length. The lens mount fits tightly on my X Pro 3 with no play at all, and it was the same for the XE3, which cannot be said for some Fujinon lenses I own. Not that a little play affects picture quality in any noticeable way. So far, I feel like I get more than I deserve from what this lens costs, but there are compromises, of course. Talking about design, the most noticeable is the aperture ring. It has clicks, but they are not very noticeable. You can hear the clicks more than feel them. Not a big deal, but worth mentioning. Also, the spacing between aperture values is not the same throughout the range. There is one click between each of the first three f-stops, with f5.6 just one click after f4, followed by f8 and f16. Nothing else. That's unusual, but again understandable given the lens size and price, but it's not really a problem for me because it makes sense to just leave the aperture fully open most of the time and play with effects of shallow depth of field while turning the focusing ring. That one is smooth with a nice amount of friction. The lens barrel moves in and out as you are focusing, but again that is okay given what this lens costs. The much more expensive autofocus Fuji X-F 35mm f1.4 lens is doing it as well, and nobody is really bothered, me included. With the lens you will also get a metal screw-on lens hood with a metal screw-on lens cap, which is really only useful for storage and transport, and also classic lens cap for everyday use. Seems excessive, but why not? It may sound that TTArtisan cut corners where they could, but this 35mm lens is actually pretty nice optically. I took a bunch of test shots and I'm pretty happy with the results. You would not think these photos were taken with a $80 piece of glass. What I also like is how the manual focus lens changes the way I compose. I can easily see what is in focus and choose what to keep there and what not. As I said before, I shoot wide open almost all the time and believe this is how the lens should be used. It's about the ability to play with shallow depth of field in your EVF or on the back LCD without any electronics getting in the way. It helps that on an APS-C sensor you shoot in 50mm equivalent focal length, so you can better separate your subject and the whole act of taking a photograph feels more creative. The need to focus manually slows down your picture taking process and forces you to pay more attention to what you are doing. This obviously applies on all manual focus lenses, but with this one from TTArtisan you don't risk much. If you are unsure about getting a manual focus lens, this is it. You get it new, with warranty and for an affordable price. You will easily compose your images using the 50mm equivalent focal length and end up with good results. It can even be a first prime lens for your new camera if you bought it in a kit with a zoom lens, and a good way to explore what focal length you like before spending more on a branded prime lens with autofocus. But even if you have all that figured out, the biggest and most obvious reason why you should give this lens a go is the price you pay. It sells for $73 on TTArtisan's website, and I've seen it for similar amounts on eBay and Amazon. For this reason, I truly think it's a manual lens for everyone. But if you are absolutely sure you don't want to bother yourself with manual focus, check out this video about the magical 35mm f1.4 lens from Fujifilm. It may be the one you are looking for.